Okay, wait, just a moment. Do I need to readjust something? I think I may have lost my audio. Oh, nope, there it is. Okay. Anyhow, this is Glitch Reaper. I'm back for another Magic the Gathering, Magic Duels video. In this case, I'm actually gonna do something a little different. Because I got a couple quests completed recently, I thought maybe this time I'll show what it's like to go with the store and get things. Because this is quest gold. And I'm gonna show a lot about what I mean by this and what you can kind of do with it. But you've kind of seen me fulfill quests in one way or another, including doing story mode missions, even though I'd already done them. So you only get gold for them the first time in terms of their initial amount. But you can also get it from doing other kinds of quests that you just happen to be able to fulfill that way. So that can happen too. I wasn't entirely intending on getting that 160 gold all that way, but it just happened to work out. Now, I'm going to show kind of some of the things you can get. Obviously, a lot of the emphasis will be on boosters, but you can also get various other items. And these include full art lands, which are awesome. However, this is like a one-time thing of 1,500, so I'd have to build up for a while before I got that. I'm probably going to do that as a special event. You can get card sleeves, which are things that make your cards have a special backing on them that you can see whenever they're on the top of your deck or in some other ways. And they have like different themes, like the basic has basically the Planeswalker symbol on it. Kaladesh has different styles of Planeswalkers as well as the Angel of Invention. Gatewatch, you have shadowed outlines of the Gatewatch, so that's an interesting thought. With Ether Revolt, you have Tezzeret, a Maul Fist guy, a Johnny, Herald of Anguish, which is a really powerful demon card, and something that will be coming up later in the story mode for Ether Revolt, the Planar Bridge. That is seriously featured. Now, these all cost like 300. These all cost about 300 each, so it wouldn't take too much time to get those as opposed to a pack. Amonkhet, similar story on costs. All of them are that way. Darn lips. All of them are that way. And you have the Curator of Mysteries, which is an interesting Sphinx card. You have, it's not like a legend or anything. You have the Combat Celebrant. I'm not sure where he is on things. Battlefield Scavenger, kind of a little card that can help you sift through your cards because you can use it to, like, draw and discard cards. Oketra, which is one of the 5 gods of the trials. Yes, she is. Honored Crop Captain, a powerful, like, normal, just plain rare card, not really like a one of the god cards or something, or a legendary or anything like that, but just really powerful. Premiums are 750 each. They represent some really special artwork, like one of the most mythic cards in all of Magic the Gathering, the Black Lotus. We have Bolus Horns, which, him being Nicol Bolas being the big bad. That's a kind of a special feature. Also, his horns look cool whether you're going with hero or villain style. And Harmless Offering. It's about offering someone a kitten. That is just so cute. I mean, I would literally get that just for the cute factor. And these are for sleeves. You can also get personas, which are things that kind of show up as like your avatar whenever you're entering combat. And you got it between like legends. And these are like 500 each for them. You got Sealy Rye, Tezzeret, Immercool, which we defeated earlier. Arlen Cord and Avacyn. Among these, only 2 of them are actually legendary creatures, Immercool and Avacyn. The other 3 are Planeswalkers. I mean, legendary is legendary, let's put it that way. Planeswalkers, we have the yet other alternate art for the... Darn, what is with my lips today? We have other alternate art for the Gatewatch. I mean, seriously, alternate art? I mean, I think there's actually an arc card somewhere in Magic the Gathering. I just don't think it's included with the recent sets. Now here we have with Amonkhet, we have yet another alternate art version of Oketra, and we have like 3 of the Gatewatch members, Chandra, Gideon, and Liliana, as well as another one of the gods of the trials, Hazoret. So got some interesting options whenever you're going with personas and stuff, but it's kind of interesting that some don't really show up. Like out of the Gods of the Trials, I have not seen Kefnet, Bantu, or Ronus really available in this. I think that's a little bit of a glaring omission. Now, there's more than one way. Darn lips, again, seriously, this day. But, anyhow, you can get coins through doing quests and stuff, as I have shown before. But you can also get them through, well, buying them. And that's where most of the money goes through this game. Like, you get it for free. You can quest for all the money that you want to literally get everything you want just over time, which is good if you really like just doing quests and playing the game, and rather not having to do this. But you can, of course, accelerate things with money if you want to. And it kind of just scales up where you get the classic Magic the Gathering philosophy of the more you buy it once, the more economy you get out of it. So just saying that has been their philosophy for a very long time. So you just keep that in mind if you do choose to do something like that. Although some of these costs, I'm wondering if it really scales. I'd have to do some calculations on that. Because some of these I'm wondering. I mean, some of these you can tell are definitely a bargain. Some of them not so much. I guess they get the most efficiency for them getting money out of the lowest order ones. But as I said, the more you get at once, the more economy you get. Again, that's been their philosophy for a long time, so that's just established. I don't know exactly what you got to do in terms of doing money for that. Like, that would be like probably a credit card thing, or possibly through the actual account with Wizards of the Coast or something like that. I'm not entirely sure how that works, but it's just not my thing that I want to do that. I'm not going to be a pay to win. I'm going to be a quest to win. Now, as for the store itself, it has all sorts of setup, and it kind of shows you your progress with any of these sets, but there is an absolute max to them, and I'll show that off in more than one way. Like, for example, if I were to click on, well, let's see, I'm going to show off kind of the procedure of going from early gathering to later in a few easy steps. Battle for Zendikar, I haven't really gotten much from it for some reason. It just hasn't been the one I'm most attracted to in terms of getting more cards from, at least for the time being. Obviously, I'll get it bought out eventually. But as you can tell, it says that you have 10% of set collected, and you can actually build up a lot of gold at once and buy more than one pack at a time if you want. So that is an option to do. Like, you can just build up and then get a ton later. But in this case, I'm going to say very specifically that it does scale absolutely perfectly. Like, these are not kind of like the other things where you're paying actual money, but on the other hand, it's also where the more you get, the more economy you get. No, this scales perfectly. So it's just as it is, and that's in Quest Gold. So, and of course you can get the gold by actually purchasing it, or you can do it by quests and other things. So yeah, like just winning matches and stuff can get you gold. So there's more than one way to do it. So again, with that little point. So that was showing what it's like whenever you just have a little progress and you have like all your options here. Like the absolute max you can ever get at any one time in terms of packs for like the most gold you can spend is 32 in one shot. So just saying, it goes from 1 to 32 and they have increments. Now for one that I've gotten a lot of but haven't really maxed out, this is where we get to Amonkhet, because this set has really spoke to me in various ways. And you'll notice something a bit different about this. Sure, you can see I've made a lot more progress over time since I've been playing the game for a while, but you can also see it has X24 instead of X32 down here, and it says max available. That shows you can only ever get so many packs in this game of a given set, and then you've got pretty much all that you can. Now, there are some other limitations I'd like to point out, but just the fact that it will gradually start, after you get far enough, counting down how many you can actually get in at one time is interesting, because it will gradually tell you, oh, by the way, you don't even have to worry about the fact that you theoretically could have bought 8 because you can only get 7. So because you only have 7 left to go. So that scenario can pop up later. And as for one I have actually completed, yeah, the one that started with Magic Origins, I have bought out. I literally cannot click anything anymore. and it says I have 100% of set collected, and it has a nice completed tag on here saying, yes, you've won. You've got everything. So, yeah. Now, a thing I'd like to point out is also in the card collection, and let me show you under Magic Origins what I mean by there's certain additional limitations to the whole thing. And here's your way to search with filters. So, Magic Origins, you'll note that even though I've actually completed the set, I have different amounts for certain types of cards. Like, I have 3 of Anointer of Champions because it's an uncommon. I have only 1 Angelic Destiny because it's a mythic rare. And this one's got something extra special about it as well. It's technically from Core Set 2012, but they decided to include it into this set because they had taken out some other stuff and decided that it needed a little something extra to make up for it. And that's another thing, is some of these sets don't actually have absolutely everything that was originally in the physical set. So there's a bit of rebalancing with that. Now, you can tell there's kind of a theme here, that commons, the ones with like the black or some other special default color, you can get up to 4 copies each. With the ones with the silver set symbol, the uncommons, you can get up to 3. Now, let me see, do I have some good, rares. Note that even though this is a legend, and this is not, that they're both rare, and they both have a limit of 2 that you can have. And might I add, this applies, in the electronic versions, this applies per deck, not, like, physically it ever would, because that's a whole other story. But in electronic format, in Magic Duels, it limits you to these kinds of things that you can put into any one particular deck, but you can have those cards shared across multiple decks. So even though I only have 1 Kythium Hero of Akros, I can actually have them in more than one deck. Even though I'm only allowed to have 1 card, and I can only have like 1 in a particular deck, I can share it across multiple. So that's kind of a way that this balances out. And might I add, this symbol for Mythic Rare, it's not... It's something special. It's kind of like a reddish orange. So and they've kind of depicted in ways that seem more red and more orange at sometimes. So just an interesting thought. But obviously they have rare being gold. So just so you know there. Now I'm going to actually do a bit of an opening now. So this is where things get a bit purchasey. Oop, wrong thing. I actually meant to hit back. But oh yeah, it's already at the base thing. Okay, I'm so used to hitting back so quickly. Anyhow, let's go back to the store, because I was originally going to get a nice new booster. Now, as I've shown, I've maxed out Origins, and recently I was doing Ether Revolt as part of my story mode, but I also have done Kaladesh again recently as well. And as you can see, both of them, I haven't really gotten to that point yet where I'm starting to max out how many I can get. So I'm not entirely sure just how many it is overall over time, but it's one of those things. Right now, I'm going to go ahead and buy one from Kaladesh and open it to show you what that's like. But it gives you a nice confirmation. You can either say back to the store and cancel out, or you can confirm purchase and use your gold to buy a pack. In this case, I'm buying one from Kaladesh. And it'll give you a message, purchase successful, because this does have to be online for certain functions, including buying new cards. But even in offline, you'll still have all your collection because it syncs your data automatically. So that's just something to know, that these are permanently yours, but they're in cloud format. So just an interesting thought. And so now that my purchase is successful, meaning its servers have said, okay, we now know your data of what cards you got even before you do. And now you're presented with your booster, or boosters if you get more than one at a time. And then you can like sequentially open them or open them all at once, whichever way you'd like. I'm just getting one here, so it's time to just open this one. Okay. If you get a mythic rare, it just sparks around it and shows it to you in a nice presentation. That didn't happen this time, but it's just an interesting thing to note. That it will it will bring your attention to a mythic rare of any sort, very, very apparently. But what did I get this time? I got Commencement of Festivities, which, if for 1/1 green, is a nice little instant because it prevents all combat damage that would be dealt to players in that particular turn. So you can kind of just negate an entire assault on you. I got Cowl Prowler. It's just a whopping 6/6 worm creature. It just looks massive. So, yeah, big one. I mean, green tends to be about big creatures with big costs, although it has ways of boosting your mana. So for 4 generic and 2 green, that's actually an okay card. I mean, it's a common, but it is a classic green stomp card. It's just humongous. Self-assembler. This is interesting. It's an artifact creature, which means that in general, they'll usually be for no particular mana type, and you can just pay whatever. So for 5 generic mana, you get a 4/4 creature that allows you to, whenever it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for another assembly worker creature card, reveal it, and put it into your hand, and shuffle your library. So having up to 4 of these in a deck would be interesting because you could just summon one after the other with that ability. It's like, yep, got another one, yep, got another one, yep, got another one. So you can easily assemble an army with this thing. Oh, more like small battalion. Engineered Might. For 3 generic, 1 green, and 1 white, this sorcery, which means only played on your turn unless otherwise stated, target creature gets +5/+5 and gains trample until end of turn. Or creatures you control gain +2/+2 and gain vigilance until end of turn. So I could see that one being useful for 1 creature gets to stomp, like massively, or you have all your creatures able to attack and remain untapped so that you can just have them ready to block in your opponent's turn. So that one's useful either way. And it is a green and white combination. So that's definitely kind of classic guild work if you were doing Ravnica, but this is Kaladesh. But still, I mean, it has those functions of both green, making a creature bigger and stompier, and it has white, which is granting vigilance, so heavily associated. Let's see, start your engines. Another uncommon. Vehicles you control become artifact creatures until end of turn, and creatures you control period get +2/+0 until end of turn. So you can get all of your creatures powered up, and any of them that are vehicles automatically become artifact creatures without having to be crewed. So that one is useful for a quick surprise attack. And the Gearper Aurori. This one's for 4 converted mana cost, and each player may play an additional land on each of his or her turns. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, if that player has no cards in hand, that player draws 3 cards. So this one just speeds up the game for everybody. And that was like 3 and 1. So yeah, I was just reassessing, but yeah, that would be okay for a one-shot. So yeah, and another option you have is you can go to your card collection immediately and tag it for anything new. This is something special you can do right after you open a pack. That way you can just do a quick review and going, okay. So you can say, okay, now I got max of these, because you can have max of 4 that's anything that's not a basic land. Hey, that's a rule unless the card says otherwise in regular Magic the Gathering. That's already a rule, so you know you're maxed out on these. But it also means, and here's something special, whenever you get a pack in this game, it will ensure that you don't get past your maximum number of copies that you're allowed. So that means that I will not get another Commencement of Festivities again, period, because I've already maxed them out. These 2 are uncommon. These 2 are uncommon, sorry. And this is my second one of Start Your Engine, so knowing how uncommon cards go, that means I've got 1 left to go. With this one, it's just a common card, so I could get 2 more of those. This is uncommon, so I have 2 more to go here because I just got my first copy of Engineered Might. I've got the Assembly Worker, which is common, but I'll be able to get 3 more, although that's my first uncommon. I mean, my darn lips again, seriously. It's my first common of this particular type. The thing is, that when it comes down to it, sometimes it's harder getting a common card that you're after rather than a rare, because there's so many cards that are classified as common that the sheer variety means that you might not be getting the one that you're after, even if it's considered common. So I've collected a decent amount of this set, and I hadn't got one of these particular common cards until just now. So that shows kind of how that works, because that was my first copy. Now, the Gear Per Rory, on the other hand, it's a rare. So by the rules that they've kind of set up, where they scale back from common being 4, uncommon being 3, rare equals 2, and mythic rare equals 1, because this is rare, this will be my last copy of Gear Per Rory, so I've already maxed that out. So you can kind of see a bit what the experience is like, but also see kind of how to gauge just what you've got out of what you've already collected. So I hope this kind of acts a bit as a store guide as to what you can kind of do in Magic Duels. So I'll be logging off for now. So hope to hear from you all later. And bye for now, everybody. And remember, Friday Night Magic.